Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, we have the honor of speaking with an extraordinary woman whose courage and determination have redefined what's possible. Marcela Maranon is a trailblazer, adventurer, and advocate, making history as the first disabled Latina to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Not stopping there, she's also traveled to all 7 wonders of the world, using her journey to raise awareness about accessibility and inclusion. In this conversation, we'll hear about her incredible ascent of Africa's highest peak, the challenges and triumphs of her global travels, and her deeply impactful House of Hope project, which is changing the lives of disabled children in Tanzania. Marcela's story is a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the limitless potential we all carry within us. So without further ado, let's welcome Marcela. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me in your show, Samantha.
Thank you for being here. So to start each episode, we have our Wine, and Win of the Week segment. This is where we share our favorite bottle of wine, then about something that has been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So Marcela, what is your WINE of the week?
Well, I don't drink a lot, but if it's Chardonnay, I drink anything.
Yum. And how about your WHINE of the week?
Have any so far?
That's all right. New year, so lots of good things. So
I don't have complaints. I don't hear complaining.
I love that. Well, what's your win of the week? What's your positive thing that you've accomplished this week? Even though it's only Tuesday, but
Oh my God, one of the things that I accomplished this week. Man, it's Tuesday, Samantha. Soon. It's too soon to guess. I don't know. Meeting to have a book deal.
Yay! That's a huge win. That's amazing.
No, like not a book deal, but it's a meeting to reading my book. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I am excited for you to start that journey.
Yeah, I'm too.
So the Running Wine Mom, we also start with a little fitness. What's your favorite way to stay active?
Okay, so I guess riding my hand cycle.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And how do you think maintaining your fitness routine contributes to your mental health?
Oh my God. Every time I'm at the gym, I forget about everything, about all my problems, any physical pain that I may have. Physical activities, such an important part for everyone, really.
Yeah, and we're going to get much more into that in just a little bit, but we're going to talk first just a little bit about parenthood. Can you tell us about your family?
Yes, so I have a daughter. Her name is Michaela, and she just turned 18. I had Michaela after my accident. I was 26-year-old. She born 3 years after my car accident. As you know, I am disabled. I am a disabled mom. I became paralyzed and I lost one of my legs when I was 20 due to a drunk driver. And so I had Michaela 3 years later.
Wow. So what were you least prepared for in parenthood?
No, I think that being a mom is it takes a village to raise a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
You're never prepared, because parenthood is very challenging and, but I felt like with a lot of love and responsibility and, can really raise your kid the right way. I feel like I have sacrificed a lot for my daughter, but I'm not complaining. That it's just that as a parent, especially if you're a woman, you sacrifice so many things because you love them and you want to take care of them and you want to be there for them, and Michaela means the world to me. She's my world. She's my biggest accomplishment. And I am so proud of her that she's going to the university this year.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. How was pregnancy being disabled?
My pregnancy was normal. I had no problem. My belly started to grow when I was maybe 6-7 months. When I was 8 or 9 months pregnant, it was a little bit challenging, especially the transfers. And I am very independent. I don't have a lot of help. I don't have a caregiver with me. I do pretty much everything myself at home. So transferring with a big belly was a little bit hard, and yeah, it was a normal pregnancy. I just had to be careful. And also I had a really good doctor that was, always there for me in case I need him. So yeah, it
Oh,
was,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think your parenting style is?
So my parenting style, I am very like laid back with my kid, especially when they are like, teenagers. I am not the type of parent that controls a lot because my mom used to control me a lot and my sister, and this is why I was always very rebellious and I wanted to do whatever I want because my mom was always on top of us. But I wanted to raise my daughter like, hey, listen, I trust you. I know that you are gonna be a good kid, but as soon as you do something that I don't like, you really, really miss your chance, and everything is gonna be different. So I'm gonna give you my trust. I'm gonna trust you that you're gonna make good decisions, and we're gonna go from there. And so far, Michaela has grown up as being like, really having control her. She has really demonstrated me and her father that she's a responsible child. Has good grades. She put a lot of effort on everything she does. She has values, she believes in God. And I feel like I really don't have to chase her to behave right, you know?
Ugh, that's wonderful. My kids are very little. They're 2 and 4. So I love hearing from parents with older kids to see, what their perspective is. So I love that. That's
You have
wonderful.
to trust your kids. You have to trust on yourself and your parenting skills. So that way, when they are teenagers, you don't have to chase them to be good kids. You know what
Yeah.
I think that it starts since they are very little, and then when they grow up, I mean, it's all depends. Sometimes parents have a lot of fault.
Yeah, I know. We're raising ourselves right along with them, I feel.
Yeah.
So what is one piece of advice that you would give to other parents?
Patience, patience. I am not someone who's very patient, but my daughter has taught me to be a patient parent because sometimes can be very frustrating, can be very like,
Yeah.
my daughter has taught me to be patient and also show them, like teach them responsibility, accountability. I think that's one of the most important things. And you have to also, show them that you have to care for others. Like, and sometimes when they grow up and they're teenagers, they don't want to take care of anybody but themselves.
Mm-mm.
They don't want to spend time with the parents. They don't want to do this. They want to be with the friends. But you have to kind of push them a little bit to,
Yeah.
hey, you need to also spend time with your parents. You also need to spend time with your grandparents and your family. I mean, I understand that your friends are important, but you also have a family. So yeah.
Oh, that's great advice. All right, now let's get into you. Can you share your journey with us and explain what led you to where you are today?
Sure. So, as I said, I became paralyzed due to a car accident when I was 20 years old. I obtained a physical disability, so I am not able to walk anymore. So, I use a wheelchair 24/7. I also lost my left leg. So, if you see videos or photos of me, I use a prosthetic leg for cosmetic purposes. And also, I do have another prosthetic leg to walk with any exoskeleton device.
Oh.
So, yeah, I've been paralyzed for 22 years.
Yeah. So after your accident at such a young age, how did you rebuild your life and find the determination to pursue challenges that are out of reach for really most people in the world? But you climbed up to Mount Kilimanjaro, you've seen the 7 wonders of the world. How did you get from what probably is the darkest place to doing such great things in the world?
It takes a lot of courage, like anything in life, I never thought that one day I will be in this place where I am right now. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I mean, becoming disabled after having a very healthy life is not easy. It's difficult, and also losing one part of your body in my accident, I also lost my boyfriend, and I was
Ugh.
in love, and I love him so much. So I feel like I had to grieve my boyfriend. I have to grieve a part of my body and my mobility.
Right.
It was super difficult for me. I was so depressed. I didn't know what to do with my life. And it's normal. It's normal to feel this way when you are going through so much and you're so young. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and now that 22 years has passed, I really feel grateful and proud of myself for giving me the opportunity to be in all of these places in my life. Because
Right.
I could have given up. I could say, I don't want this life. I'm not gonna do anything. And I feel like I tell everyone, my breakthrough was when I accepted my disability. I accepted that my wheelchair will be my only way to forward in life.
Right.
And there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, my wheelchair is just a tool that I use for independence, and it has helped me go to all of these places. It has helped me to raise my daughter, and I'm not ashamed of it. I am proud.
Right. Yeah, as you should be, because all of these things you are doing is just, like I said, I don't even have words for it. The one thing that I did want to talk to you about, I think you might have even posted today about you were standing and cooking, and I think you were using, is it the rewalk technology?
I use Rewalk exoskeleton technology.
Yeah.
So I've been into exoskeleton technology since 2014. I have worked with different um, exoskeleton brands, and I love it.
Yeah.
Love it because it's not about um, standing and walking, because I can do life perfectly in my wheelchair, and I
Right.
can accomplish more things in my wheelchair than being on an exoskeleton. But I know that standing and walking is good for the body. And
Okay.
I like to take opportunity and receive all the good benefits that I get from exoskeleton technology, right? So I actually, since I started working with it, I mean, I don't have a lot of doctor's bills. I don't have many of the SCI, spinal cord injury, secondary health issues.
Wow.
I'm always active,
Right.
but you know that skin issues is the number one
Hmm.
problem for someone with a spinal cord injury. And
Right.
thanks, I haven't had one, and it's been 22 years.
Right.
Trying to use these. Also, circulation is better. So it's great. It's a great rehab device.
Right.
And I think that when I am in the device, I think about it like this is a great workout for my body. It's not about me like standing and walking again. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So let's talk about your exploring. So you explored, you saw the seven wonders of the world. What kind of inspired you to get to see all seven of them, and which one do you think resonated with you most?
Okay, so I always wanted to travel after my disability, and when I got divorced, that was my opportunity to travel.
Hmm.
Every time my daughter spent summer with my ex-husband, I did something for me, because
Hmm.
I always have her from the whole school year, and then summer she goes for 6 weeks with dad.
Okay.
And so during those 6 weeks, I could do whatever. So I say, okay, so what about if I go and travel? And I started traveling, and I like it. And one day I thought like it would be cool to visit the seven wonders of the world in a
Right.
picture. And I am a solo traveler. Most
Right.
of the time I'm traveling alone. I don't have no help. I don't have no one to carry my luggage,
Oh my gosh.
to book hotels for me. So everything is an adventure and is last minute. Sometimes I fly to Europe, and I arrive to, Spain, for example.
Right.
And I say, okay, well, I have 1, 2 weeks to stay in Europe. And then when I am in Spain, I say, okay, so I feel like going to France. And then when I feel like going to Germany,
Oh my gosh, that's
it's,
awesome.
minute. I don't plan anything. Sometimes it's a risk because you don't know if the city you're choosing or the hotels that you are booking are wheelchair accessible
Yeah.
or is in a good place. But yeah, I just do it. And so far it has worked really good. So, I did that with the Seven Wonders. It started with Machu Picchu, and then I took my daughter to Mexico, and we were in Playa del Carmen, and one of my drivers said, "You want to go to Chichen Itza?" I said, "Okay, let's go." I said, "Oh my God, it's cool." So I already visited Machu Picchu and now Chichen Itza, and I have like 5 more wonders. So, and then I went to Italy, and then Taj Mahal, Petra. And actually for Petra, I crossed the border. So I
Wow.
stay in Israel for 3 weeks, and, I crossed the border I crossed the Israel border to Jordan alone in my wheelchair.
Whoa. Oh my.
Hot. Across the border. Can you believe that?
No. I
Different experience. I still have my videos. I wish I could film better videos of my journey. But
Right.
yeah, cross a border alone in the Middle East.
Wow. I'm like, I'm trying to process all of that.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
And I put myself out there, and I trusted these strangers. Like,
Okay.
I organized my trip in Jordan for sure with a tourist agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were waiting for me on the other side because they were not allowed to cross to Israel to pick me.
To
So
get you.
they weren't allowed to cross, to Israel to get me. So I had to cross the border, and they were waiting for me at the immigration office or whatever, and showing me the whole process.
Wow.
It was like different experience because you always hear all these bad things about the Middle
Right.
East, and on the news, and then when you get there, it's totally different from what.
Totally different.
Yeah, so this is why I don't pay attention to what I see on the
Yeah.
news,
I was gonna say that's why I don't watch the news anymore.
and so I've been discovering all these things, when I travel.
Yeah. How do you think that global tourism can become more inclusive for individuals with disabilities?
I think that by providing more services, you know what I mean? By providing more services that are wheelchair accessible and be open to invest on us, because
Yeah.
really it's about investment.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's all about investment, investing on making your hotels more wheelchair friendly, having transportations that are made to transport people in wheelchairs, to adapt experiences. So also people with disabilities can experience, doing different things when they're traveling, not just like, oh, I got to the city, I go to my hotel, I go to a restaurant. There are other ways to make it accessible and make them also be a part of experiences with other tourists. So it's
Right.
about investment, you just make the investment. If we know about a place that is wheelchair accessible and offers experiences and a good time, we are gonna go there,
Right. Right. Yeah.
spend our money to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's well, speaking of wonderful adventures, let's talk about you going up Mount Kilimanjaro.
Okay, so I got invited by this nonprofit organization called Friends of Access Israel, and at that time they planned a huge trip of 27 climbers. Four of those 27 are disabled, and I was one of them. So um, we climbed the mountain together. It's not like I did it myself.
Right.
We had 27 people. It was a huge group. And then we have porters, and we had guides, helping us with the chairs. We use a wheelchair that is made in Israel, um, that has this technology that helps people to climb big rocks. And
Right.
the four of us who were in wheelchairs, we were like, this is how we climb, right? With the help of our porters,
Right.
guides. Honestly, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been to the top.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it takes a village, just like to raise a family. It takes a village to raise adults too, and get us to where we got to go.
yeah, and I have people that says, "Well, thanks to them, she made it," and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks to them, she made it," and that's right.
Right. Yeah.
Trust them with my body.
Yeah.
I went through all these climatic changes, this stress in my body, to the risk of falling in my wheelchair. So it took me a lot mentally more than physically. So, and let's say you don't have a disability and you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you're going to be exhausted emotionally and mentally because that mountain is a monster. It's not about the physical part. It affects all of the areas. And yeah, so the porters do this for a living. So they climb that mountain like every day.
Yeah.
All comes on top, because you have different keyboards, you have different levels, and so they're used to this. This is what they do, and they live there. And yeah, so I was able to make it thanks to them.
Yeah. And
So
for you.
thanks to me.
Yeah. So did you have to do any training prior? Did you do any altitude specific training prior to going, or did you have to prepare in any specific way for it?
No, believe me, I didn't go to the gym like every day. I took some medicine for
Right.
the high altitude.
Yeah.
I didn't even take it. Me
You're,
was okay, yeah, whatever. I think that for me, the most difficult part of being on the mountain was like using the toilet.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was hard.
Because accessibility in Mount Kilimanjaro is not the best.
Right.
People do their necessities out on the wild.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, oh my gosh, what is this? But I mean, I'm glad that it's over.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to. If someone said, Marcela, do you want to go again? I say, yeah, let's do that again. But this time, I think I will go more prepared. Also, I didn't bring a lot of warm jackets because I am someone who loves the cold. I love
Right.
cold mountains. I love it. I love to feel that cold on my face. When your face is so cold,
Yes.
love to feel that. So I never wear any jackets. I never like that when it's cold. But this time, we get to the top. It's so freaking cold. It's so cold that I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I
Brought an extra one.
had a jacket. So everyone who was on the group is like, yeah, why you didn't bring?
Oh my gosh. What
So
route did you take up to it?
I think we did the Coca-Cola route.
Okay.
I think
And
so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
how long did it take you to reach the summit?
From the start to finish, 8 days.
Okay.
When we got to our last camp, we had to practice like for 3-4 hours. And then we left the camp around 10 p.m. And we got there at 6 a.m.
Okay. So you got there in the morning. Do you think it was harder like going up or coming back down with the
Oh no,
logistics of everything?
going up because that peak is so steep.
Yeah.
You just like look down and it's like, no. You're like, I can't believe it. It was so scary for me
Right.
because my wheelchair was like, I thought that I will flip over and
Right.
crash.
Oh my gosh. That's
Scary. It was
yeah, because if it was someone just walking up, that if they fall, there's a chance someone could grab them, I guess, and a hand or something, but you have a whole wheelchair with it that was falling with the weight and everything. I'm sure that's just scary.
plus, not feeling half of my body too.
Right.
And it was so dark, like there is no lights.
Yeah.
It's dark. So if they made a mistake or something, I could just like
You would have,
yeah, it was a lot of risk. I took a lot of risk climbing
yeah.
mountain, and I'm glad I did it.
Right.
It opened so many doors for me. And I also did it to bring wheelchair accessibility awareness. I mean, people with disabilities don't have deserve to access even the highest mountains of the world. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I feel like there should be more accessible, even though there are mountains that are not possible for wheelchair users. There are also mountains like Mount Kilimanjaro that has different levels, different camps that, they made it wheelchair accessible, but it's
That's amazing.
accessible. They follow their country's accessibility requirements, which is not normal for us.
Right.
So I know that they did a great job adapting the mountain, but it's not a mountain for wheelchair users, which I understand. So
Right. So while you were in Africa, is this where you founded the House of Hope project? Is this
yeah.
how you found, or it was totally separate?
Well, I do have a friend. She's a doctor from Germany, and she has been volunteering for over 12 years to go to Tanzania and check on these kids. She started with 20 kids on her program. Now she has like over 100 kids. And she's been following me for a while. And when I climb Mount Kilimanjaro, she reached out to me and say, "Hey, Marcela, I just watched you climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I am in Tanzania and this is what I do." And she asked me if I could donate a wheelchair for a girl. And, the girl has a spina bifida. At that time, she was 10 years old. And the way she just move around is because the mom always carry her. So actually one day the mom was walking on the highway carrying her daughter. And the daughter, like I say, was 10 years old at the time. She didn't have the money to buy a wheelchair. And someone saw her and told my friend Teresa that she needed help. So there is a poster on her page, like, there is a kid that needs a wheelchair and who would like to donate. And I saw that and it touched my heart and I donated a wheelchair for her. So I kept a communication with my friend and she invited me to Tanzania and I went there. I went to spend some time. I was there for like a week.
Okay.
I stayed with her and I wanted to see if this was like a real thing. So I bought my ticket. I met her there. And yeah, this is a really, really cool thing that she's doing. I know that she cannot do everything alone. She needs help. And her nonprofit already bought a land for the hospital to be built. So actually this is not like a hospital. This is like a house of hope where these kids can go there. It's like a pediatric hospital community where all children can go because the hospital where she volunteers is very overcrowded and the kids don't have their own space. So the House of Hope
Oh, wow.
will give them their own space. They're gonna have a community. They're gonna try, well, the vision is to train the moms to also help other moms and help them because most of them do not know. They don't know that their kid has hydrocephalus or
Right.
an spinal cord injury. They're not well educated. They don't know about skin issues. So sometimes these kids come to the hospital when Teresa comes with really bad wounds. And the parents don't do anything. They think that it's a scratch.
Oh, gosh.
Sometimes they have to have flap surgeries. They're not educated, and
Right.
and it seems that the government or system do not
Support it.
support them because they have this ideology or whatever it is that if you have a disability or if your child is disabled, you're being
Oh, yeah. Bewitched. Yeah.
bewitched. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so, and, they live on villages. These people live on villages and sometimes they don't want to hang out with you because a disabled kid. And it's a very sad story to tell.
Yeah.
But many people do not know what is life in countries like
Right.
Tanzania, where there is no resources or help for children with disabilities. So, right now, we're just they bought more land, so they're waiting for the contractors to give a good bid on it. And as soon as they know how much the house's hope is gonna cost, I'm gonna try to um her with raising money.
Yeah.
I was able to give her some money that I fundraised when I came back. I haven't fundraised more because I had a really busy year.
Right.
I'm making sure that this is happening and that
Yeah.
it doesn't go to different places. So this is why, like, I am also trying to be careful because I don't want to put my name out there for something that is not gonna be done.
Okay. Yeah.
I am helping and I am in contact and I know that she's doing the best she can, but it's taking time and I am trusting on the process. And also, my daughter is graduating from high school. It's my last time with my daughter. So it's just like I cannot give my time to go there again.
Yeah.
Once she goes to the university and I have more time, I'm planning to join her and go to Tanzania again and see how the project is moving. And actually, I have a call with her. So next week to talk about how is the project progressing.
That's amazing. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, so the last thing that I just want to touch on before we kind of start to wrap things up is your social media and your advocacy, because you have such a large following on Instagram and TikTok. So how do you use your platforms to challenge stereotypes about disabilities?
I try my best to share a positive message about disability. Hard with a disability is not the easiest. I feel like out there, people that don't know much about disability think that people with disability have a sad life, that they cannot do much. They see my story, they see, oh yeah, this woman, raise a daughter, she works, she's independent, she can do all these things, and she's not different than me. So she's in a wheelchair, but she can do things differently. You know what I mean? I feel like I am not different from anybody. I
Right.
can do the same things, but in a wheelchair. Sometimes there are things that I cannot do because for example, I cannot stand up to reach something that is very high, but I mean, I ask for help. But so, I mean, I think it's about my attitude and also I'm using my social media to advocate for a better accessible world because I mean, the reality here is that there are disabled people that would love to do more stuff
Right.
and we cannot do it because the world is not accessible for us. And I feel like if we all, disabled and non-disabled, work for a more inclusive world, the world will be a good place for disabled people. So
True.
it's all about, bringing awareness of how important it is. And sometimes, I go viral and people talks about have different opinions about disability. But I have had people that have reached out to me and say, hey, Marcela, I have this Airbnb and I made it accessible because,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you really inspire me and you're right. Or, hey, Marcela, so I have a restaurant and I decided to put low tables or things like that. And I like to hear that because I feel like my story, my social media is changing people's perceptions and bringing awareness about the importance of wheelchair accessibility and disabled people.
Yeah, and obviously this is no, comparison, but I just know when I had my first child and I had to use a stroller, and I was like, there's all these places that I can't even get my stroller into. I can't imagine how someone in a wheelchair is able to, even in like stores, go through the aisles of, a clothing store or something, like a small boutique. It was just very hard to do that stuff. And I thought, like I started to notice myself how inaccessible so many things were just from having a stroller. And then once I had two, it's like now you have a double stroller. You really can't get in anywhere.
I think that this is why it's so important to advocate for universal design because with universal design, everyone can take advantage of it. At some point, people that don't have a disability, they may need a medical device or a wheelchair to move around. Maybe when they get to their 80s, moms that have strollers, that has babies, they need that. So everyone benefits from wheelchair accessibility, everyone.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, your story is just so incredible. What do you hope that your journey and accomplishments will inspire in others, particularly those who face physical or societal barriers?
I hope that my story helps them to not give up, to chase their dreams, and to have the courage to keep going. I know that sometimes it's easy to say, but really, I know that it sounds easy to say, but I mean, if you don't really put a lot of your part, you can do this. You really have to put a lot on your part to build a life that you want. And what I hope is that when people see my story, they help us. And when I say help us, help the disabled community to have a more inclusive world where there is more social acceptance, where there is more accessible places, where we can just be free, because sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can be free because the world is not adapted for us.
Right.
And it's not about you're an inspiration. It's about how can you help me to make a difference in the world. So that's what I'm hoping that people takes from me. Like, hey, you are watching everything I do in social media. You are discovering all of these places that are wheelchair accessible through my page. But what else can you do for my community? And so, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Sometimes it's easy because it takes a village. But,
Yeah.
I think that people with no disabilities can do so much for us and can help us and be an ally. And that's what we need. We need allies.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a wonderful place to end it. You have given us so much wonderful information, and I just loved hearing your story. So I think that will bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. As we wrap up this episode, Marcela's story reminds us of all the power of determination, courage, and community. Her journey up Mount Kilimanjaro and her commitment to creating a better world for those with disabilities inspires us to push our limits and reimagine what is possible. If Marcela's story moved you, take a moment to share it with someone who might need a little encouragement today. Support her mission, check out her social media, and follow her ongoing adventures as she continues to challenge barriers and uplift others. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it. You can follow me on Instagram at @therunningwinemom_. And Marcela, where can the listeners find you?
They can find me at The Journey of a Brave Woman, Marcela Maranon, in Instagram, Threads, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube.
Perfect. And I will link all of that. Thank you, Marcela, for coming on today.
Having me, Samantha.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.